Well, hello, that's me again. Today is April 21st, 2025. It is Monday, and what you see in the beginning is one of those occasions, which, of course, during this so called 30-hour Easter truce, Ukrainian forces and those people who support them used to attack Russia. As the result, the HIMARS launcher was identified, it was tracked, and it was, annihilated. You can see it yourself clearly, and that will continue. However, if you go and take a look at the losses over the, well, essentially the through the 30-hour truce, you can see yourself that Russians tried very hard, to be proper Christians and proper humans. And as you can see yourself, only 260 of Ukrainian forces have been killed. But you have to keep in mind, they tried actually to penetrate by means of diversionary recon groups into the Belgorod area. They have been obviously detected and annihilated. So that is why there is no zero losses on their part. But yeah, that's Ukraine. What do you expect? It's Ukraine and London, which, well, basically does this, so to speak, planning. Now, before I go any further explaining what else is going on, I want to express my condolences to the Catholics around the world with the death of Pope Francis. And we knew he was a very ill man, but I'm pretty sure Catholic Church knows what to do at this stage. So, and just condolences. Now, going back to our goals, so to speak, I want to stress the other thing. And for people to understand why I'm stressing this, and I've been updating you constantly, you can easily find this data from Russian Defense Ministry anywhere on the Telegram channels, including the Telegram channel of Russian Defense Ministry. But as you can see yourself, for today, if you take a look at losses which have been in Kursk alone, and you can see yourself, it's more than 75,375 primarily killed, 411 tanks, 336 infantry fighting vehicles, and so on and on and on. So, as you can see yourself, quite a harvest, pardon my French if you wish. So, but this is not what I want to talk about today. And before I go, I need to go out and point this out, that Mr. Trump continues his, assault on all of our feelings and senses that, as you can see yourself, yesterday, hopefully Russia and Ukraine will make a deal this week. Both will then start to do business with the United States of America, which is thriving and make a fortune. No, Russia will not make a fortune doing business with the United States, because Russia is absolutely independent economically from the United States. And fact is, it is the United States which can make a fortune doing business with Russia, especially participating in a gigantic infrastructure and energy and other, including space exploration projects. But hey, it's Mr. Trump, okay? So it's using his adjectives, or rather the, if you wish, the bench of adjectives, pretty short though, beautiful, wonderful, awesome, and things of this nature. Why does he do this all in caps? I don't know, but point is, he is sending Mr. Witkov back to Moscow, trying to hammer out something, but no. As Mr. Putin already stated today, speaking with the people representative of the municipal subjects of Russia, he said, yeah, they tried to, strategically defeat us. Good luck with that. I mean, and yeah, we, especially in the battlefield, you just cannot defeat Russia on battlefield. Just please, I mean, people much more experienced and much better militarily than the United States tried to do this. didn't work out. It's all ends up either Russians being in Berlin or Paris and Berlin again. And so obviously Russians have no intentions to go to Washington, D.C., but we live obviously in the 21st century. So they better know what they're dealing with. And, Russians already made clear that even during this truce, 30-hour truce, it was Ukraine which violated it non-stop. So what can I say? Now the truce is over, so is over the moratorium on the energy infrastructure, so to speak, and the special military operation continues, and it will continue as planned. Russia will achieve its own military and political objectives of the special military operation. But this is the other thing which I want to talk about. And once in a while, I have people coming to me, well, not coming in figure of speech, obviously. They write, they call, we talk, and some close friends, but then some people who just merely are part of the audience, my audience on the, for example, this channel, or who write to my blog. And they talk about, as I did it once, I do not like to do it much, but obviously I go and look up the CVs of all those people, all those experts, if you wish. When they talk about Russia, be that Russia as a nation, as culture, as economy, and especially Russian military. And they call me and say and ask us, do this about this guy or that source or resource on the YouTube. I did Mr. Binkov. I mean, he's evidently Croatian fanboy of something, but he has a larger audience than me, which is totally understandable. I do not discuss all those things about all those guns, and masturbate to all kinds of the, things. Oh, the new mine, oh, the new shell, and things like that. No, I'm trying to explain to people a very boring and a very tedious thing, how to fight in real war and how the real wars are prosecuted. And and I did Mr. Binkov. Now I have to pay attention to one of those shyster fraudulent resources, which is filled with those military guys from the United States, But problem, obviously, is I am on record for a long time. Neither of those people, and especially people who are not a cadre officer, who at least never served as cadre officer at any command, serious command or staff position, especially if we're talking about the higher tactical position, this is, guys, brigade. Brigade level is the highest tactical position, because this is where you are almost become the part, so to speak. You still cannot do the independent operations, but you can do a lot of tactical action, and you are becoming, depending, if you are independent brigade, you stand alone, and you can almost say that, with some stretch, you are operational, tactical operational level, almost, not quite, but division. That's the operational tactical formation. And when you look attentively at how those things are conducted on the level of, let's say, independent brigade, and the obviously division level, not to speak about the corps level or the fleet level, where you have to have already operational strategic tasks, and you can conduct independent operations, you begin to understand that, I'm talking about you, my friends, who watch me. I know this. I always try to convey that, if you are NCO, nothing wrong with being NCO. When you are an officer, a tactical level officer, you depend on your NCOs. These are the guys who run things for you while you command and control. And they will die sometimes for you, and you cannot explain this to some guys who are enlisted. They know they are very narrow playing how to do it. And obviously I have to dispel this stupidest myth, which is of course complete BS, which was propagated by the primarily US military itself, about the fact that, oh yeah, Russians may be better on this and that, but we have the core of the NCOs. Really? I served in the Soviet armed forces, okay? And we had a very good core of NCOs, and as I already stated, they were actually better educated than American NCOs. If you want to go through the even midshipman, not midshipman as it is applied in, for example, in the sense of when you become, let's say, naval cadet. you become midshipman by the year 3, 4. That's when you become midshipman. But then, of course, you graduate as in United States Navy or U.S. Naval Military Academy. It's ensign. In Russia, it's lieutenant. So, and you look at this like, seriously? But yeah, that's what they're spreading. And here I come to this issue of this thing. And they are frauds, and not because they obviously served some of the guys, like this guy, for example. His name, whatever, it's task and purpose. He is whatever, I will tell you his name. So he served in Somalia, so special forces. They all, for some reason, always special forces, rangers or what have you. And here, for example, one of those, their task and purpose, which is, again, an organization which spreads BS about Russia. They have no clue about Russia. None of them speak Russian. None of them will understand basic fundamentals, actually, of the operational planning. They will not understand command and control issues on the operational level. But here it is. He talks about that another Russian mercenary leader calls for Putin coup. Yeah, it was 7 months ago or something like that, or a year ago. And the guy evidently is very popular. He, as I already stated, he is a, veteran of Somalia, whatever the hell was there. So, and he talks about some guy who Russians never heard of, but they try to present Russia and Russian military as some kind of the thing which is backward. Well, obviously, it is all palliative therapy. And these people, as I already stated, most of them are at the level of the NCOs or simply enlisted. You listen to them, oh, I'm, deployed to Iraq. Okay, fine, yeah, you deployed to Iraq, okay. You deployed to Afghanistan. Whom did you fight there? Did you fight the combined arms warfare? No, none of them has any clue what it is, including the Iraqi those operations, like Desert Storm and things of this nature. They beat the crap out, as I already stated many times, from out of the backward semi-literate army, and they think that they are it. They're not. So, and they continue to talk about, Russia and whatever is happening with Russians in terms of the special military operation, having no clue. Here's this guy. I mean, again, this is this guy. Good Lord, he has the Italian name, and he's talking about that. He talks about Russia's embattled tank on the front lines on Ukraine. He talks about T-90. And T-90M, especially Prorif. The guy actually violated Russia's state border, so he will be charged, obviously, with the crime of entering. For example, he was in Suja, evidently. He recorded himself there, but tells you about his intellectual level and his arrogance. But he would know the first thing about Russian tank forces, because he won't understand the first thing about how Russians fight. But because he is some kind of ranger, this team, whatever, So, and he talks about the things that, he has no clue about. And I don't know what is a battle to mount T-90M Prorif tank, but it's a state-of-the-art tank with the which is networked, and it's not embattled. And Russians are actually the really good at producing the Mangal, which is the anti-drone defense, as per the reactive and active armor, be that Arena or Afghanit or whatever other types of the defense are used in the T-90, for example, or even T-80. They work beautifully. You could see it yourself on many occasions. But yet, these are the people who go out and begin to talk about subjects which they have no clue about, not to speak about the fact that they don't have the access to what actually real professionals can deduct. And real professionals can deduct some data sets. Data sets are obviously highly classified, and they are classified across the board, starting from the, let's say, platoon level. And obviously, as you go further into especially the level of the brigade staff level, well, guess what? It is top secret, or sometimes what is in Russian calls a special significance, особой важности, which means what? It's, well, I don't know what is equivalent here, code word or something like that. So it's the the thing which is highly classified. But that's the difference between real professionals who are operated on the level of the staff officers. They can at least deduct, if you wish, or deduce rather. Well, sometimes you have to deduct to deduce things. So you can deduce things on the level that plus minus with some probability you can get an idea. I do have an idea, but then again, I have my connections with my friends who are senior officers, very senior officers, former, some of them are actual senior officers, and I know a little bit what I'm talking about. But when you have these guys who go out and spew BS, because they do the only thing, that's what it is, they cover their butt hurt because they have to admit that, well, you are not the greatest, you never were. And this is really this white elephant in the room, and they cannot live with this because they know how to operate whatever AK-12, or they know how RPG works. Wow, cool. Yeah, they probably can do even the fire charge, for the platoon. That's probably their level. But when you try to explain to people, and people begin to, I get this feedback. They say, look at this. Look what the hell are they talking about? I know. They spew fraud. And none of them will have enough guts to come and debate me, because obviously they will be having a very, very sour appearance. And if you go across, for example, the board and this task and purpose, which is nothing more than the basically military porn for fanboys and guys who probably understand. They read some tactical document on the field manual for a level of platoon, or let alone the squad, and they know how. Well, I'm old for this, obviously. I'm not good marksman. As you can see yourself, you see, that's the thing. So, but they spread this thing and they pump this chauvinism and idiocy, pseudo-military so-called expertise. None of them is expert on any serious level, and I stress again, operational and strategic level, because this is the only place where the victories in the wars are won. But especially, you will understand that if you look attentively at this guy I was talking about, he went out and got his degree from the art school. There you go. He never had any serious military education. He went through all kinds of the ranger school and things of this nature, but it doesn't give you, again, the proper understanding of what you're doing on the tactical level even. That is why, for example, serious American professionals, they write about STEM-M and how you have to be prepared for the modern battlefield. These guys know how to probably put the, tripwire, put the mine in, things of this nature. They maybe will be able to command the squad, but that's about it. And so the thing which really got me going, which was really funny, you had the other guy who, as he says that, I deployed to the some, Atlantic and whatever. Well, fine, it's okay. I also once deployed to Mediterranean and, Arctic Ocean and things like that. But you know what? So we have the other guys. 1 month ago, they come out and this is the thing. It's a therapy. Why Russia's aircraft carrier killer is a disaster. They talk about Admiral Nahimov being remodeled, so to speak. In reality, they talk about the Project 1144 nuclear-powered cruiser of the, used to be Kirov class, but Admiral Nahimov, which essentially have been completely overhauled, and it is essentially a brand new ship, which, by the way, if somebody didn't tell those people from the task and purpose, it launched, it's actually started its nuclear reactors about 3 months ago. So it's getting ready to actually see trials. And if you take a look attentively compared to this photo, which they for some reason put instead of this one, which it has been already for several months, as you can see yourself, it's a completely different sensor suit there, and they forgot to talk about the very fact that this ship is not only essentially it was gutted completely and brand new systems, including state-of-the-art weapon systems, which Russians were waiting for them. For example, like to have the definitive final tests of the 3M22 Zircon hypersonic weapons until they have been validated, and now they can, and they already installed, which are the vertical launch system of 3S14 for example, Zircon, including the updates for S300 Ford, which is nothing in common with the original version of Ford. It's all digital, it's all very serious combat information control systems, and those things, how to put it politely, I don't even know how you explain to those people that don't talk about what you do not understand, that it's not in any way a disaster. It's just Russia preserving for herself one of the major combatants which have become, and it is carrier killer. And I've been on the issue of the 3M22 Zircon and how any carrier battle groups will has nothing really against it. They will not even see what hits them. But you cannot explain this to these guys because their only task is to sell or peddle this military smut to fanboys who masturbate there. And what can I say? They absolutely have no clue what they're talking about. None of them speaks even Russian. None of them has any access to the Russian military culture. They know absolutely nothing about Russia. And the only thing what they do, which I don't do it to a degree, is you browse internet, obviously. But what they do, they browse internet. And when you look attentively, even at their, for example, this thing. Yeah, look at this. When talking about the T90s or all kinds of crap like this, you see, it was April 4, 2 weeks ago. You see what they put up here? Vital microchip sanctions will hit Russian computing power hard. And this is the report by some Pavel Urusov, who is most likely the asset of either MI6 or CIA, anyhow, the US aid creep from Carnegie Endowment. Really? I mean, and they take this report from 2023, which was essentially 2 years ago. I have news for those guys from Task and Purpose. If you do not understand what Russia does in terms of the actually lithography and domestically procured microchips, and especially what kind of topology is used starting from the combat informational systems for the most advanced weapon systems to ranging from air defense to all kinds of things and missiles. I don't know. But these are people who produce this smut from the American sources, who actually already have been proven not only wrong, but I mean absolutely losers. They do not have even understanding of what is happening, especially in military field. But there you go. That's the kind of shysters and fraudsters who continue to peddle this smut. And they had now whatever they had, the disagreements there. And evidently one of these big honchos left them, and now they left, and those, fanboys are suffering, and they are in distress discussing that, oh my God, we're gonna lose this wonderful, what's a resource. It's not wonderful. It is, as I already stated, it's fraud. Military fraud, and this is the thing which, well, people say, oh, they have 1.8 million subscribers. Of course they do. Because they sell emotions. They do not sell any viable, real, serious operational strategic military knowledge. They don't even know it does exist. They don't understand fundamental mathematics of the operational planning. They do not understand actually how the staffs, good level staffs, work. I do. I served in the staff of the independent brigade. So, but what do I know? Or what do my friends know who work in the central apparatus of the Ministry of Defense of Russia? And just to continue with the fraud about this situation with the Admiral Nakhimov nuclear cruiser, which is, as already stated, coming soon on the sea trials, and it will carry the weapons suit which is weapon suite that, don't go there. U.S. Navy has nothing on it. Simple as that. And what we have here is this. Nikolai Patrushev, who is the chairman of the Russian Naval Collegium, he said Russia doesn't plan to get involved in the arms race, naval arms race. He states it today. It's today, and so that's what he says. Look at this. Here, there was obviously the April 21st. Russia does not plan to get involved in a naval arms race. The domestic navy can give an adequate response to any threats, said Nikolai Patrushev, presidential aide and chairman of the Maritime Collegium, in an interview with the Kommersant. We have no plans to get involved in naval race, he stressed. At the same time, Patrushev noted, now there is an increased competition between the United States and China in this area. And this is also where the butthurt comes from those guys, like these task and purpose people. So that, well, Russians say it like this, as you know. That. In any case, the shipbuilding plans and programs adopted by Beijing are much larger than American ones. As for our fleet, in terms of its total power, the Russian Navy is one of the strongest in the world, and our sailors have always proved they can fight well, not by numbers, but by skill, and by Zircon and P-800 Onyx, or any kind of the long-range fires of which people from the task and purpose have no clue about. They will not understand even basic salvo equation, let alone the advanced, what is called embellished salvo model, because you will have to have a serious knowledge. You have to have the good level officer rank to even grasp it. So, a large-scale program for modernization of the fleet is being implemented. The development and implementation of the most modern breakthrough technologies are underway, he says. For example, special attention is paid to the creation of unmanned boats, ship-based unmanned aircraft systems, and maritime robotic systems, honing the tactics of their use and actions together with the main forces of the fleet, the assistant to the head of state explained. As a result, a powerful, modern, and balanced navy has already been created. And I have to admit that he is absolutely correct. I never expected the recovery of the Russian Navy to be that fast, to be that dramatic. But guess what? It did happen. Who would ever thought? But when you look attentively at the weapon systems and sensors which is procuring today, and the shipbuilding program which actually accelerates, especially with this $100 billion dropped on Russian Navy just for hardware. No pensions or anything. These are different articles, so to speak. These are different financial tracks. We're talking about this. Here it is, $100 billion. Do whatever, well, if you begin to recalculate it properly, we're talking about more like along the line of $350 to $400 billion. And here it is, build ships, submarines, new weapon systems, new capabilities. And can you imagine me talking to these guys, you know, who some guy probably enlisted, oh, I deployed to Atlantic. Okay, sure. You have been on your aircraft carrier, whatever. You were doing your thing. Do you know what is happening on the bridge? Do you know how those people think? No, he doesn't. And that is why, for example, if they will listen to this, like Douglas McGregor, who in this wonderful segment when talking to the Daniel Davis, he speaks about that, obviously he talks about that it is Trump's war now, but he talks about the fact which I was talking for the 10 years now, the white elephant in the room, that, let's face it, not only American hardware is very inferior to Russian across the board, it is also the fact that operational art as such, it really doesn't exist in the United States military as the craft, military craft. So, and in this case, that's what we are looking at. As Mr. Putin today stated, that you cannot defeat Russia, you just can't, you know, especially on battlefield. And as the result, it was paraded and exposed for what it is. And now you have all those shyster, fraudulent military, you know, analysis thing, you know, people who have absolutely zero background except for the, at the most, squad platoon level understanding something like, yeah, how to shoot RPG or how to, you know, do, as I already stated, maybe they will understand how to draw the fire chart. That's it. What do you expect from them? Well, you expect from them the Top Gun Maverick. And they're obviously F-18 shooting down the Su-57. I know it's inevitable, and some people cope in a different ways, but evidently saying right things and saying to yourself, as Russians did in the 1990s, we screwed up. and they paid the price. Russians paid the price. It was primarily Russian guilt and fault of what they did to their own country. But they say, okay, we can fix it. We can address it. These guys cannot address anything. They don't have the knowledge. They don't even know what they don't know, and you cannot explain that, because for that, my friends, you go to military academies, and even that is not a guarantee from you being a fraud, military fraud. Look attentively at American generals. And so this is what I want to tell you today. And as always, before I go, those who like what I do, please subscribe to my channel. And those who can afford, please support me on the Patreon or buy me a coffee too. And guys, have the nice rest of the week, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.